On the news, Nigeria's Center for Disease Control to commence monitoring of new COVID-19 subvariants says no need to panic. Ruling All Progressives Congress inaugurates National Working Committee members amid protests. And Nigeria Air set to begin operation by fourth quarter of 2023. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says it is monitoring the new subvariants of the Omicron variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus named EG5 and BA286. In a statement on Saturday, the health agency said the variant has been reported in 51 countries, including the United States, South Africa and Uganda, adding that there was no need to panic over new COVID-19 variants as it continues to carry out genomic surveillance. The agency said preventive actions remain the same as before: good hand hygiene, testing, vaccination and use of masks. The World Health Organization has classified EG5 as a variant of interest and conducted a risk assessment which found this new variant poses a low risk at the global level. Amid protests from some members of the party from Kogi, Abia and Cross River states, the ruling All Progressives Congress has sworn in 6 new officials to fill vacant positions in the National Working Committee of the party. The inauguration, which was spearheaded by the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Ganduje, was done at the national headquarters of the party. The development is coming in the wake of protests by the aggrieved governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, a former senator for Cross River South District and Abia APC, who labelled the election of the officers as an imposition as against the names of nominees they submitted to the ruling party. And politicians from the ruling All Progressives Congress and opposition People's Democratic Party in the Mopamaro Local Government Area Council of Kogi State have decamped to the Social Democratic Party to support the candidacy of Muritala Ajaka and Samuel Abenime in the November 11 governorship election. The decampees were received by the SDP governorship candidate, who has been on consultation visits ahead of the elections in the state. This next report has more details.
With about 2 months to the governorship elections in Kogi State, political parties are intensifying efforts to woo supporters to ensure victory at the polls. The Social Democratic Party is one of such parties, which has received quite a number of decamped members from the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, all in the bid to support the candidacy of the governorship candidate of the SDP, Muritala Ajaka.
So this group is combined of there's PDP, there's APC, even the majority of this group, they are APC. They are tired of even their party. Even if somebody say he have mother and he's even tired of his mother, mean that the woman is not my mother, what will I do? Than to run for the woman. So when they say they are tired of their party, we have to absorb them.
The camp members say they are ready for change or for the development of Kogi State.
We are not happy of the present development that is going on in Kogi State. Leaving apart of the candidate we are having in Okun land, we have candidates that are worthy to occupy the Lugard House. But the essence of politics is not just to contest. We want to contest and win. We want somebody that will fix Kogi back to what God has made us to be as a state. And we want somebody that will unseat the bad government that is going on in Kogi State.
In his continuous statewide consultation, the SDP governorship candidate, who spoke at a town hall meeting, promised to build infrastructure and rescue the education system from collapse.
From Kaba down to this place is a straight road. And you see some portions of the road are already in bad state. Whether it's a federal road or whatever road, we are going to work on it. Most of our rural communities, they are having problem of electricity. And most of these problems are caused as a result of bad transformer. As a priority, we are going to buy at least 50 transformers per local government across the state.
While welcoming the decampees, the Social Democratic Party's governorship candidate and the new members chose a date for the official welcome reception of all the new members. Tamilore Akinkolye, TV360 Nigeria.
And as the rate of insecurity continues to spread in Nigeria, security risk management and intelligence consultancy firm Beacon Consultancy has revealed that no fewer than 5,166 Nigerians have been killed, while there have been over 1,830 cases of abduction across the country between January and July of this year. The Chief Executive Officer, Beacon Intel and security expert Kabir Adamu, who spoke on TV360's flagship program DG360, says the rise in insecurity has been a fault of the federal government, whose duty it is to protect citizens. Given more details of the report on growing insecurity, Adamu says kidnappings and banditry, which the government through security agencies has failed to nip in the bud, will only get worse if the security agencies do not work in synergy to combat emerging threats in the country.
Beyond the statistics, they are human beings. They were human beings at some point in their life. And if we compare it with other parts of the world, it shows that in Nigeria, life is actually at a very, delicate stage. So this is what we are trying to do, to use statistical presentations to show where there are progress and sadly where we've not recorded progress. To speak of the figure itself of 5,000 plus at the almost on the 7th month of the year, this is not surprising. For the number of years that we've been maintaining this database, this has been the situation in the country. On the average, about 10,000 Nigerians are killed every year. And so if in July we're recording 5,000, it means that probably at the end of the year, we're going to record around 8,000 or thereabout, depending on what progress we make in the country. And so this is a wake-up call for everyone, especially those with responsibility for security, to realize where they are making progress and where they need to do more in order to reduce this number to a figure that is acceptable to Nigerians. I'm sure I wouldn't be wrong if I conclude that this huge number is not acceptable to any Nigerian. Let's remember that there are 29 ministries, departments, and agencies that are involved in security. So unlike what most other security practitioners would say, I would tell them that you can't do this alone. In other words, no cabinet minister can solve the security challenge alone. They need to work together. And the president has severally repeated that he wants to see collaboration. I will add coordination and cooperation, the 3 C's in security operations. I would hope to see that. So that's agenda number 1. Let them work together as a team. And in doing that, I would urge that they pick the Renewed Hope document.
A human rights group has called for the enforcement of compulsory treatment and care for victims of gunshot injuries by hospitals without police reports. This call was made in Lagos at a gathering to discuss compulsory treatment and care for victims of gunshot injury and accident, calling for implementation of the 2017 Act as amended by the National Assembly. The Compulsory Treatment and Care for Victims of Gunshot Wounds Act of 2017 provides that every hospital, public or private, shall receive for treatment any person without gunshot wounds with or without police clearance or monetary deposit.
The biggest problem is for those who are indigent and poor. And like I said, in Lagos, for example, that's an old story. Lagos State had taken care of them. There's now a provision for indigent. There's a fund for indigent victims who know about it, and that's why this awareness is being created. And I say that the First Lady, the now First Lady, when he was a senator, I've already moved for another bill to provide for such. And that bill had gone through the second reading. So it's my hope that I will continue to reach her to see whether she can use her connection to make sure that they make provisions for those who cannot pay their bills.
For all citizens to comply with the provisions of the law, if the citizens do not comply with the provisions of the law, there are consequences according to the law.
The police should try and carry their, the low cadre officers along. Many of them are not informed. Some of them, they just do things anyhow. Possibly they need regular training. So you train them because they are the one out there. The bosses who are learned, fine. Some of they are also educated, the police officers. But if you are ignorant of some things, you might not really do what you are supposed to do. You understand? So they should educate their local officers.
As climate change continues to raise concerns in human survival, especially in the area of food security and good nutrition, there are predictions that Nigeria may face an even worse environmental and food production crisis. Rising from this, analysts have called on the federal government to ensure food security and nutrition outcomes are strengthened amidst threats by climate change. This next report has more details. The effects of climate change on food insecurity have now become very direct and substantial. In Nigeria, 1 in 10 children die from hunger before the age of 5, and an estimated 25 million people are at risk of food insecurity, according to a report from the United Nations Children's Fund. The disturbing figure from food insecurity has been met with concern from newly elected President Bola Tinubu, who declared a state of emergency on food insecurity.
Accordingly, and in line with this administration's position on ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported, the President has declared with immediate effect the following actions. 1, a state of emergency on food security. 2, that all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as essential livelihood items be included within the purview of the National Security Council.
Despite this action by the President, analysts say more than a declaration will be needed to increase food production in Nigeria.
Farmers cannot go to farm again. Benue, that used to be the bread basket of the country, I don't know how much food they're able to grow now. It has even become a security problem. If the government is serious, you don't just declare state of emergency or whatever name you call it without tackling the fundamentals. Number 1, if we must tackle the problem of insecurity, then you must make the environment friendly for agricultural production.
Nigerian smallholder farmers produce some 90% of the country's food on unirrigated lands and are mostly dependent on rainfalls, but crops are now vulnerable to ever-changing weather conditions, leading to low crop yields.
They go out and plow on their own strength and pull from their own resources in order to give us what we are able to get. I hope they don't relent in that. And I do hope that while they are struggling at it, help comes to them from the government, support comes to them so that there will be more output in terms of food production.
Nigeria is ranked as the 53rd most vulnerable country and the 6th least country in the world to adapt to climate change, according to the Notre Dame Global Adaptation Index report.
We seem not to be aware yet that we ought to move from food, feeding and fiber production to environmental conservation. We still plant as if we have the whole earth laid out before us like before. We have lost a large portion of it to the climate change effect.
To further strengthen and increase understanding of the linkages between climate change and food security, experts say countries must deploy mechanisms to ensure resilient food production systems, stressing the importance of exploring innovative financing mechanisms to mobilize resources for climate change adaptation and agricultural development. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria. With the outbreak of COVID-19 in early 2020, various countries adopted the use of online learning platforms, and Nigeria was not left out. In 2023, Justin Irabo, a web developer, created an artificial intelligence AI chatbot on Telegram to ease the challenges of distance learning. So far, Irabo's app has reached thousands of users. More details in this next report.
Online learning is the fastest growing market in the education industry, as it has grown 900% since its creation in 2000. And just like every other industry, the online learning industry is faced with various challenges, especially following huge demands for online learning platforms since the emergence of COVID-19. Confronted by one of the challenges when he began distance learning through an online platform, Justin Irabo, a Nigerian web developer, decided to use the opportunity to create a solution to the challenge, which is not only unique to him. That solution is an AI chatbot he calls Kainene Vosavon, which helps people study.
It's an AI chatbot that helps people study and, just anything required to, when it comes to learning. The artificial intelligence chatbot basically has a conversation with people on Telegram, and it provides answers, helpful suggestions, and just basically helps them iterate towards whatever solution they require in their field. Many use cases have been students, students studying for school. They can have the chatbot play the role of a study companion.
As a distance learning master student at the International University of Berlin and a full-time employee at an European fintech, there was no way to realistically plan learning sessions with other students given his busy schedule, and this led to the creation of Kainene, a personal study partner for Irabo.
I'm a full-time employed, I have a full-time job, and so usually I don't meet the lectures when the lectures happen, and so sometimes I need a study companion to basically discuss what has happened. My schedule doesn't quite allow it. So in the beginning, what I did was to take the textbooks that I was using to learn in school, and I took my notes and then I passed it to Kainene Vosavon. At the time, it was just an app that I was running on my own machine, and it was playing the role of a study companion.
Users currently pay a small fee to be able to use Kainene, and unlike other developers, Irabo's goal is to further improve his chatbot to make users enjoy their experience and make it primarily accessible to all.
Today, Kainene costs 1,000 naira, right? Most of that cost goes into maintaining the server and paying for model usage, right? It's very expensive to use a model. I don't draw a salary from Kainene, so I'm fine, and Kainene is fine. Like we're good. She has her own account, doesn't come to me, So we have like a separation of concerns. My primary objective in life is to make it as affordable to people as possible. So the two things I'm working on right now is working on a free tier, right? So I'm gonna get like maybe a less expensive model, and then create a version of Kainene that is free. It will not be as good as this, but it will get some work done, and it's for people who can afford, like they can pay for it.
Now being used for various purposes, Irabo's long-term goal is to work with AI alignment and whatever it creates embody human value and core, while Kainene would be integrated in every single interface people are connected with. Tamilore Akinkolie, TV360 Nigeria.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DG360, dissecting the issues.
Well, that's all on News Now at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu.